You know, over the weekend it was pretty long. We had a good weekend though, I'd say. Not too not too exciting, but we did some stuff. We had some fun on the side. So went to a graduation, did all that stuff. But today we are going to get to some football. We're back. It's a new week, and we're gonna get started off on a good note. And hey, we're gonna kind of leave off or start off where we left off last Thursday. We're gonna talk about some of the key matchups through about week 6 through 10, and then about a team in the NFC South. So with that being said, are you ready to get your fix? So like I said, key matchups right here. We got week 6 through 10. We're gonna talk about week 6, couple key matchups here. There's actually 3 of them I really like for this week, and we're going to start with the Chargers at the Ravens. Now, this is a noon game. I love this game, okay? I feel like these teams are really, super similar, okay? Now, they both have pretty solid defenses. They can get the job done, but they are also hit and miss a lot of the time as well. But then you look at their offenses, okay? They both can move the ball pretty solid, but the Ravens got a run game, no passing game. At least we don't know yet. And this is week 6. They probably could have that pass game. We've talked about this briefly, last week and the week before that. If the Ravens get a passing game going, they should be very, very solid this year. But then you go look at the Chargers. I'd say they have more of a passing game than a running game. They are able to run the ball with Austin Eckler back there, and I can't remember off the top of my head who the other guy was, but they are able to run the ball as well. Not as well as the Ravens per se, but they do got some solid pieces. Now, Austin Eckler, in my eyes, is more of a receiving back as much as he is a running back as well. He catches the ball really nicely, okay? And I think we're going to see a lot of that come to fruition this upcoming season with Austin Eckler out there. I mean, they got Keenan Allen, Mike Williams. They got some pieces, okay? I believe Hunter Henry. So we'll see. No, Hunter Henry is a New England Patriot now. Forgot about that. So they're going to need to do something in the run game. So they're kind of really similar in a lot of ways, okay? The Chargers really need to take this game. They need to take this game in order to take that next step. We've seen them get really kind of, close, if you will. Like I think last year was 9-7 or something that with Justin Herbert, but they have the ability and the players to get there and to take that next step. And this season's really one of those stepping stones for the Chargers to do so. Now, week 6 against the Ravens, it's a big game. Okay, Ravens have been to the playoffs back-to-back years. Actually, for sure the last 2 years, I'm pretty sure it's been 3. But you get the gist. This is a big game for the Chargers, week 6. This is where you know who's where and what you got. Okay, so this is a big game. Chargers need to win this. And they need a playoff push this season. Okay, they need to try to get that 7th seed or that 6th seed, or even they're not going to win their division. It's not going to happen. They got the Chiefs, the Broncos, the Raiders. That's a very solid, tough division, but the Chiefs are most likely going to win that division. I think we all kind of can agree on that one to sort of say. But enough on that game. We got another one. Cardinals at Browns. This is a 3:05 game. Look, both teams, at least in my eyes, are stacked and Super Bowl ready. They are ready to make that playoff push. Now, both of them, like I just said, looking to make that Super Bowl run. Weapons upon weapons upon weapons. Okay, you got Cleveland with Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham Jr., Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, plus a lot more other people. And then you go to the Cardinals. You got DeAndre Hopkins, Rondell Moore, J.J. Watt, Christian Kirk, and A.J. Green, too. They signed this offseason, and plus more. Okay, these guys are ready. This is going to be a clash of 2 teams that are like star-studded, ready to roll, wanting to make that next step, getting into the playoffs, getting into the Super Bowl. Cleveland made the playoffs last year, I believe. Yeah, the Cardinals. Oh, did the Cardinals? No, they did not, I'm pretty sure. So, there's 2 teams that need to make that next step. The Cardinals have been there. They want to get to that Super Bowl run. And this offseason was a really big indicator that they went out and were trying to get the pieces they needed to take that next step, to go to the playoffs and try to win some games there and hopefully make the Super Bowl. That's what the Cardinals did. Now, the Cleveland Browns, well, they just loaded up, and then all of a sudden, bam. They're right in the thick of things. Made the playoffs last year. Beat, the Steelers. Went on to face, who was it? the Ravens, I believe it was, or no. Would have been the Bills, no? Whatever. Long story short, they did it. They're looking to make that next step, going to that divisional round or going to the Super Bowl. Cleveland Brown just signed, Jadeveon Clowney. They have Myles Garrett. They have literally everybody you want on defense. They're young. They're hungry. Offense, they have weapons upon weapons. Probably the best running back crew or group in the NFL. So be ready for this game to be like an all-out war, okay? No indication of a bad game at all. I don't see it happening unless the Cardinals literally go out there and lay an egg or their offensive line just can't block Kyler Murray. But expect this one to be a very high caliber type of game, especially at 3:05. That's right in the middle of the day. So you get to watch a little bit of football and then bam, you get smacked with this one. And it's going to be really good. It's really going to be a true test of what we have going forward and what we are going to see going forward. Now, like I said, it's going to be a battle right till the very end. And I really couldn't tell you who's going to win. I really couldn't. It could go both ways. We've seen the Cleveland Browns go out there and lay an egg before, and we've seen the Cardinals do the same thing. So it's really all up to, all 11 players on offense and defense. That's really going to make this game. Whatever team plays more consistent and actually has all 11 guys on the same page, or all 22 for their offense, defense, whatever, that's more than likely who's going to come out on top, and that's more than likely who always comes out on top week by week. So, like I said, really good game here at 3 o'clock. Okay, and then the final game we're going to talk about for Week 6, Monday Night Football at 7:15. We got the Bills at the Titans. Now, this could have been the AFC Championship game last season. So it's really going to be interesting. Okay, this is two top-tier teams looking to show who's the better team. Okay, Bills, offensive attack. They only got passing, okay? No running back crew. We talked about it all last year. Devin Singletary, to me, and Zach Moss really don't, get that spark going, to light a fire. They're there. They're good fillers for now until they get that solid guy. But for right now, they don't have a running game. They just have a passing game, okay? But then you go look at the Tennessee Titans, and they're the opposite. They got a running game with Derrick Henry and nothing in the passing game. I mean, they do. Okay, A.J. Brown, what's his name? Corey Davis. They got pieces. Corey Davis might not be there. But A.J. Brown, okay? They got pieces. They can get it done, and we'll see where it goes from there. Now, I do think the Bills do have, they have the better defense. Titans have shown that they could play at a high level, but this is a new year, new season. Now they got to take it one step further so that they can get one more step further in the playoffs, because last, 2 years now, they went to the AFC Championship game 2 years ago, and then this year they made it only to the divisional round. But they're looking to do something good. However, all the Bills need to do is stop Derrick Henry. And that seems to be literally the topic of discussion every time we talk about the Tennessee Titans. The only way you're really going to beat them, you could beat them in multiple ways, but a big way and a big nail in the coffin for that team is stopping Derrick Henry. You stop him, you're going to force them to throw the ball, and Ryan Tannehill is going to, force a lot of mistakes that he's not going to want to, and it's going to happen. Now, Derrick Henry is going to be the guy that is going to have to be stopped all season long. Every team's going to have to come out and find a way to either stop him or slow him down, because there's no way you're going to keep him from running. He's going to have 50-plus yards every single game. There's just, that's a given. It wouldn't surprise me if he even gets 100 yards per game. This guy is top tier, number one running back last 2 years. So, really, and he's my MVP for this year. Okay, Offensive Player of the Year as well. So, I don't know, you tell me. I think Derrick Henry is a freak of nature, and he's only going to continue to get better. And that's what the offseason is for. Okay, he's lifting weights, he's running, he's doing all this endurance stuff, and he's eating the right foods. Hey, this guy is going to be the guy to stop on that Tennessee team. And if the Bills do that, I think they could win this game. But can the Bills find their run game? If the Bills have both a passing game and a run game going into this one, oh boy, you're going to see a really, really, really good team, just like the Kansas City Chiefs. Literally, just exactly. The Chiefs really weren't known for the run game too much last year. They started to bring it into focus a little bit more, but at the same time, it wasn't fully there. But if you give the Bills like that much of a run game like the Chiefs had last year, you're going to see a very dangerous team, and you're going to see a team that's going to literally walk through the regular season, go into the playoffs, and be in the AFC Championship game once again, okay? And if they find the run game, like I said, that will happen. So just be ready for a really, really great game for this one, because I don't know who's going to win that one. Bills-Titans is going to be electric. It's going to be awesome, and it's a really, really good matchup to end Week 6. So after Week 6, we got Week 7, obviously. It's not jumping to 8. We're going to Week 7. Now, I think we got about 3 games for this one we're going to talk about. And the first one is a noon game. Chiefs at Titans. Titans again. Hey, this is going to be another really big test for the Tennessee Titans, okay? Right after the Bills. Okay, the Bills and Chiefs were the AFC Championship game, and the Titans could have been there. Could have been there, last 2 years? I think they were 2 years ago. But anyways, back-to-back weeks that the Titans are going to be tested in a very, very big way. Can they hang with the big dogs? And really, that's up to Derrick Henry. Okay, and that's up to the other teams, or like the Chiefs and the Bills defense, and the other great defenses around there to stop him, to stop Derrick Henry. Yeah, they're going to have some good games, like really good games passing. Don't get me wrong, but Derrick Henry seems to be that guy to stop. Now they did lose to the Chiefs in the divisional round last year, so we know what has transpired with that. Okay, they're hungry. They're gonna be pissed. They want another chance. They want that chance to show that, hey, we're a good team. We're better than the Chiefs. We can be better than the Chiefs. I don't think they are, but I mean the Chiefs are still the team to beat, regardless of the fact that the Buccaneers won last year's Super Bowl. Okay, they're number 1 right now for the Super Bowl odds this year. Okay, so and they have been for the last 2-3 years now. So something's doing, something's right over there, okay? They're doing something right over there. Now, I don't know really what else to say about this game because it's like the same thing with the Bills that I just talked about. Because both teams could really win this game. Okay, this is just going to be more so watching to see if the Tennessee Titans have what it takes to play good football and consistent football and have what it takes to maybe, show early on, okay? Really early on that they are capable of going to the playoffs and playing against playoff teams and, probably beating them and probably not beating. Who knows? But this is a really, really big test, again, for the Titans. So just be ready. Again, okay? Back-to-back weeks, these guys are going to have it tough. Okay? Then at 3:25, we got the Texans at the Cardinals. We're talking about Cardinals again. Now, I only really brought this game up because DeAndre Hopkins and J.J. Watt get their revenge game. Get to show the Houston Texans exactly why they left. Because let me tell you, that awful situation over there. I think it goes to show how you can't be really, or you shouldn't. It's hard to be both a head coach and a GM. And Bill O'Brien, as much as they gave it to him, he just was too hot-headed and really drove that organization into the dirt. Literally have no money, spent every little last dime they had last year, and they have nothing. So Hopkins got wanted out, J.J. Watt wanted out, Deshaun Watson still wants out. Don't really know what's going to go on with him. But with that being said, okay, this Texans offense will be just fine. Okay, but their defense is going to have a very tough time. They got rid of Bernard. What I like about the Texans offense is that they have huge depth at running back. Okay, David Johnson's still there. They got Mark Ingram this offseason. And then there was one more guy. Oh, what's his name? I can't really think of it. And then they got huge depth at wide receiver as well. Okay, so that's a really big part of it. They have an okay offensive line. Larry Tunsil's still there. He's going to be the best piece of that offensive line. But still, expected to be a Deshaun Watson type of game. If Deshaun Watson gets stopped, okay, it's going to be game over. Like, instantly. As soon as you find out that Deshaun Watson is unable to throw the ball and unable to get a running attack going, Houston Texans are going to lose. Okay, this is still going to be the Cardinals game. I have no faith in the Texans for this game, let alone the whole season. I have a little faith. Hopefully they can actually get a couple wins right there, like here and there. But at the same time, I don't see this team as a legitimate threat at all. Okay, and a lot of that has to do with the money and the talent they were able to afford and the talent that they had to get rid of. And really this whole Deshaun Watson situation, because if Deshaun Watson ends up getting suspended, doesn't end up playing, they're in a really, 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 really big trouble. But like I said, I think this is still the Cardinals game, okay? Other than that, if they do 5-12, I mean 4-13, I just don't see this team as a threat. Like I said, they're not going to be there. They're not going to go to the Super Bowl. They're not going to go to the playoffs. It's going to be, and if they do, oh my goodness, I'd be very, very shocked. But at the same time, don't expect anything out of them because they're just bad. So finally, the last game of Week 7 we're going to talk about is the Colts at Niners for Sunday Night Football at 7:20. Okay, I don't know about you guys, but to me, these teams, just like how we talked about earlier with the Chargers and Ravens, these two teams are very identical. Okay, now not just with like the personnel wise, I'm not talking about that, but how they play. Their play styles seem pretty similar, at least in my eyes. Okay, they like to use that tight end. They sometimes will go to the wide receiver, but they didn't have too good of throwing quarterbacks last season. Jimmy Garoppolo, we've seen he can do it, but not at a high enough level. The Colts last year really was non-existent. They threw a lot to the tight ends, and they ran the ball a lot, and that's what the Niners do. They run the ball a lot. So very, very identical in the way they play. Now, both defenses are top tier. Okay, I think the Colts have a very young, tight-knit group set up very nicely. Malik Hooker's not there anymore, but Xavier Rhodes, they got a lot of young corners. What's his name? Julian Blackman's still there. DeForest Buckner's still there. They got a nice defensive line. These defenses really were the sole reason last year of why their teams at least stayed in some ball games. Okay, they weren't that great, obviously, because the Niners defense got literally torn apart all last year. They had nobody at all because of that Jets game, like we've talked about. But they're both really good, okay? And they both have offenses that are on the brink, okay, of being very good. Okay, they're literally one piece away. And I think for the Colts, that piece was probably Carson Wentz. And I think for the 49ers, that piece was probably Trey Lance. Now, I could be obviously wrong. We're going to see, obviously, when the season starts playing out. But at the same time, those pieces are very crucial. We've seen what Trey Lance can do, only threw one interception, and that was in his one game last year before the draft, where he only had to play that one. Where he had 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. But he had a whole season before that, no picks, a lot of touchdowns, a lot of yards. Dude can run. And he might be that piece for the San Francisco 49ers to get that passing attack going and then, bring in that running game from time to time to see how it really fits in. And then you look at the Colts. Carson Wentz has proved, he's thrown a lot of goddamn picks, okay? We know that. Dude's a pick maniac. But at the same time, he's with the same head coach that was once his quarterback coach in Philadelphia, where he put on his MVP type of season. He could have easily won it if he didn't, tear his ACL, but I think that is the missing piece to their puzzle. Okay, if you get Michael Pittman Jr. going and T.Y. Hilton going, it's going to be very tough to stop because you got Jonathan Taylor and Marlon Mack in the backfield. I think Naheem Hines is still there or something. But then, then you go look at the 49ers. What's his name? Raheem Mostert, very, very fast, and he's ridiculous. As long as he stays healthy, he's going to be awesome. Not 100% sure if they have Jerick McKinnon. I forgot to look at that. But their run game is what they're known for, okay? And so this is going to be a very, very good game. Now, if both teams come in healthy, we are going to witness one of the better games of the season. Now, I don't really necessarily know how well it's going to happen or how good it's going to be, but the Colts-Niners just seems like one of those games where you're going to be like, wow, all right, let's go, and then you're going to be shocked at the end, kind of, I think. But that should be a very, very good game. All right, now jumping over to Week 8. On Thursday Night Football to start the week, we got Packers at Cardinals, 7:20, okay? Great game to start Week 8. Okay, Cardinals have a lot of tests this season, and this is going to be one of them, especially if Rodgers stays and he's the man in Green Bay. We could witness a shootout, okay? That, the only reason I say, okay, we could witness a shootout, but that Packers defense, when they get hot, and I mean they can get very hot, are really hot. Okay, you can't stop them. But at the same time, the last 2 years, they've had a problem stopping that run game. The Cardinals now have Chase Edmonds and James Conner. So we've seen what James Conner can do. Last year, he didn't do that well at all. But we've seen what he's capable of. I think they also have Philip Lindsay. I want to say they do, but don't hold me on that one. I can't. I'm picturing when I was reading the depth chart, and I think I seen his name. But hey, they have a solid running back crew. Okay, now, like I said, Packers defense, they have to learn how to stop it. And I think they got a lot of, pieces that are able to do it. Last year, they did a very, very good job of trying to do so. It was just that came down to that last game of the season against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, where, it was really defense versus defense. What defense was going to prevail, and the Buccaneers defense came out on top, and that's just how the cookie crumbles, okay? Packers still a very, very good defensive team, very good offensive team as well, especially with Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, and Aaron Jones, and that offensive line has always been very, very good. So, I mean, hey, I'm really, really excited for this game, okay? I'm really excited to watch two of the top receivers, number 1 and number 2 guy in the NFL, in my eyes at least, Devontae Adams, DeAndre Hopkins going at it, okay? Who's going to get more yards? Okay, Hopkins is more than likely going to be guarded by Jareer Alexander, obviously. And then, on the other side, Devontae Adams and the rest of, Amari Rodgers and all those guys on the Green Bay Packers, they might have a heyday. Okay, Patrick Peterson is not a Cardinal no more. He's a Minnesota Viking. Their defensive backs, they're all right, but they're not the greatest. Budda Baker is really the only piece there. Now, Isaiah Simmons is going to play a lot, or he's probably going to play that nickel corner and play that slot guy. Okay, he's going to be, because he is a linebacker safety kind of player because he's super fast, but he's going to have to play that nickel corner and then kind of play linebacker here and there. Might go out to safety, but that's really the only two solid pieces that you have at defensive back. So if Devontae Adams gets open, Marquez Valdez-Scantling gets open, Amari Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers is their quarterback, we are going to see a shootout from the Green Bay Packers absolutely try to tear into this Arizona Cardinals team, and very easily, if I might add. So, now with that being said, it might be tougher than that, because the Cardinals do have Chandler Jones and J.J. Watt. Both of them have they both are in the top 5 with most sacks in the last, 5-10 years now, 5 years. So it's absolutely ridiculous what these two are capable of. So yeah, Green Bay is going to have a very big test, but again, that offensive line has always been very consistent, okay? I've never really seen a year really where the Green Bay Packers offensive line wasn't somewhat decent. They've always, at least the last 5 years, have been very, very solid, good, tight-knit group. That chemistry is still building. I like how Green Bay keeps their offensive linemen there, tries to keep them there. Okay, David Bakhtiari, obviously, that's a given. You have to keep him there. And they have other pieces there as well as that they kept. So, Green Bay, if that passing attack gets going real quick, the Cardinals are going to be in for a long game. But that's where they got to rely on their young guys in the secondary, and then they got to rely on J.J. Watt and Chandler Jones to get to that quarterback, put pressure on him so that Rodgers makes mistakes. Even though he doesn't, he's a quarterback that if he doesn't see anybody open, he's just going to toss out of bounds, and that's what we need old Kirk to do here in Minnesota. I would love to see that. But, if Rodgers, like I said, is a Packer for this game, expect Green Bay to slightly come away with a victory. Like I said, with that inexperience at defensive back for the Cardinals, as soon as, and if Rodgers is the quarterback, like I'm saying, as soon as they get going, that passing attack is not going to be stopped. It's going to be very tough, and they won't have to run the ball that much. Okay, they can start, passing the ball to the running backs if they really wanted to. So, like I said, if Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback, Green Bay is slightly going to win this game. But it also depends on how well those defensive backs for the Cardinals perform, because they're not good and they're not great. They're all right. So, another game for Week 8, which is the last one I'm kind of excited about. Now, there wasn't really too many games for the first couple, or for these weeks that I'm talking about, that were really standout. Like week 8 and week 9 and week 10 were kind of iffy. All right, they're not the greatest, but they're something. But the last game we're talking about for Week 8 is a noon game with the Eagles at the Lions. Now, I like this game even though it's not some top-tier teams going head-to-head and it's not the greatest. But at the same time, this game just feels like it's going to be a battle. Okay? Both teams are sort of rebuilding, so they're going to come out hungry. Young, hungry, quick, and powerful. New coaches, new everything. All right, you got Jalen Hurts at quarterback for the Eagles, and you got Jared Goff at quarterback for the Lions. Pretty different, from last year. So the Lions got a really, really decent offensive line with a new quarterback. So with that offensive line, they signed, I think they have Frank Ragnow, Penny Sewell, what's their names? Not a lineman guy, so I don't really know too many linemen. But they have a lot of just know their offensive line is actually pretty solid. Even though Matthew Stafford's been taking a lot of hits, they have a lot of good names. Okay, in order to protect Jared Goff this year. But now the Eagles, when you're looking at their team, they got some really good potential at that wide receiver position. Okay, last year they go get Jalen Reagor in the first round. This year they go get Devontae Smith. So they got some talent there, and they got a young quarterback, Jalen Hurts. He's very quick on his feet. He's able to throw the ball. Now we're just going to kind of see, is he NFL ready? Because I don't think last year, we've seen him play a little bit. He has a potential to be NFL ready and an NFL starter someday. But at the same time, he showed us that last year he was a better backup, okay? And there's nothing wrong with that. He's very young, okay? It was his first year last year. So this year, it's going to be a good one, and it's going to be a test for him to see if this guy can play in the NFL and play at the NFL at a high caliber. Okay, and I think he has the potential to, especially with these young receivers. He's going to be able to mold with them a lot better. I think him and Devontae Smith have actually played together in Alabama a little bit, so that's going to help a lot. So just expect Jalen Hurts to have an okay year. Hopefully a good year, not a great year, but he's going to have a chip on his shoulder. Okay, he's going to have something to prove. This is a new team, new identity, okay? And it starts this year. And this is going to be a very, very good game. Now, there's really nothing else to say about this game. Because I said it's not two top-tier teams. But I have a really, kind of a good feeling that this is going to be one of the games you're going to want to witness. It just seems like it's going to be a battle, okay? It's going to be a dogfight right to the end. All right, so we're going to kind of go away from that Week 8, get to Week 9 here. We got 2 games, and we're going to start right off the bat. 3:25, Packers at Chiefs. Now, I love this game because last 2 years, they could have played in the Super Bowl. If Green Bay just could stop the run a little bit, Green Bay would have been there the last 2 years, and hey, who knows what would have happened. But now we get a chance to see right on week 9, right off the bat, who is going to be better, okay? Midway through the season, both these teams should be at peak performance. Clicking on all cylinders. You should know the playbook 100%, and just things should be really going well. Injuries by this time should kind of start slowing down a little bit. A lot of injuries happen about week 1 through about 6, or 1 through 5. A professional football player, okay, played in the NFL. So did Asante Samuel Jr.'s dad. So watch out for that, dude. Okay, but this is going to be a very fun game to watch with the Chiefs and the Packers going head-to-head, because really all it is it's going to show us, what if this was the Super Bowl game? Can these guys, get it done? Granted, the teams are different, okay? And just a lot of stuff has been different lately, okay? But it's going to be a very fun game. 2 top-tier teams, right there, okay? Number 1, number 3 probably. So it's right there. Very, very tough game and a very, very fun game. This is going to be, I wouldn't necessarily say a shootout, but at the same time, it very well could be. But just know this is going to be a very fun game to watch, okay? And just be ready. But the last game we're talking about here on Week 9, okay? Sunday Night Football at 7:20, we got Titans at the Rams. Now, Rams got a new quarterback, and they should be better with Matthew Stafford. And they got some good wide receivers, Tyler Higbee, Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp, Van Jefferson. Really, really good offensive line, stellar defense. But if the Rams want a playoff spot, this is a game they are going to need to win. Okay, they're going up against a team who's been in the playoffs the last 3 years, the Tennessee Titans. They need to show that they are capable of doing so. And I think with Matthew Stafford, who is, in my eyes, a lot better than Jared Goff, who was the Rams quarterback the previous season and the year before that, I think Stafford is going to be able to help. Like I said, the reason I really like this game is because both teams are at that point where they can sort of like easily get a playoff spot, but it really depends on how they perform. Okay, their defenses are going to have to play very consistent and on point at all times. The Rams' defense is really good, but their defensive backs, other than Jalen Ramsey, can be hit and miss. And I think that's what kind of kept them from moving forward. At the same time, their offense, they need a lot more production from their wide receivers, but at the same time, I think with having Matthew Stafford, you're going to see that performance increase. I just think he's a better overall quarterback than what Jared Goff is and will ever be. And Robert Woods, I mean, they get open all the time, and they make unbelievable catches. Tyler Higbee, last year wasn't the greatest, but he should have a very, very solid year. So, I mean, honestly, I think the Rams can, and like their defense is very good, okay? And I think this is one team that is going to be able to stop Derrick Henry, and they will, okay? And if they do that, the Rams are going to win this game, and I do believe that the Rams could end up getting a playoff spot. Not because of this game, obviously. It's only week 9. There's only 6 or 7 more weeks after that. Or no, 8, sorry. So, I mean, just expect a very, very fun game, okay? That Rams defense is going to have to prove, that they're as good as we all think they are and as we all know they are. But I think offensively the Rams are going to be just fine because I think Matthew Stafford is going to a way better offensive line. I mean, not a way better offensive line, but a tight-knit group, I'd say. They have more chemistry, I'd say. And the weapons there, they got more than the Lions did with Marvin Jones and all them. But honestly, like I said, I think the Rams can and will stop Derrick Henry and come away with the W after this game. So enough of Week 9. We got now Week 10, starting a noon game. We got the Buccaneers at the Washington football team. That was really fucking loud. Did not mean to do that. Well, I mean, I did, but I didn't expect it to, snap off like that. But Buccaneers at Washington football team, noon game. Okay, this is a rematch of that NFC divisional round last season. Now, Washington damn near walked away with the win. We've seen Tyler Heineke, or Heineke, whatever, however you want to say. Heineken is what Pat McAfee always says. But that's so, I mean, they almost walked away with the victory. And they easily could have. Now, they had a little bit more turnovers. They had a couple more turnovers than the Buccaneers did. Okay. But at the same time, the Buccaneers didn't play the best football. And really the reason Washington was able to stay in this game was that defense. This is going to be a very, very fun game to watch because now we get to see it once again. Is Washington capable of beating a very, very good team, a top-tier team? And I think they could, okay? As long as that defense plays like how they have in the past, this is going to be a very close game. And it's going to be just like that divisional round game last season. I think it's going to be a little bit closer and come down to literally the last 1 or 2 drives. But I really think this is going to be a fun game to watch. But at the same time, if Tom Brady knows 100% of the playbook finally, then who knows what we could be in for. But that Washington defense, there's something special there. Okay, and I think since they got the defense figured out, they're going to eventually start figuring out that offense. And when they do, Washington's going to be a scary team. Okay, however, though, that Buccaneers defense is pretty good as well, okay? And they should outperform Washington's offense. I mean, really, they don't have too many weapons. They got Terry McLaurin, and then you go out and you got, what is his name? God, they just drafted him. I'm having a lot of brain farts, that's right. I don't even care. It's a Monday. Hey, it's a beautiful day out. I mean, we're going to go out and enjoy the weather here after this. Let's just put it that way, all right? That's okay. But I think the Buccaneers defense, like I said, should outperform Washington's offense, get a couple turnovers, and come away with a win here. All right, so we got the 2 more games here to talk about for Week 10 and key matchups. We got Seahawks at Packers, 325. Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers always seems to be a very, very good matchup. Now, this is going to be a big game for both teams. They're both playoff capable, and we've seen good things, okay, out of both of them. Now, this is a good thing. One of the good things, I should say, for the Green Bay Packers is that Seattle really doesn't have a running game. Okay, and we've noticed that. Throughout all last year, they really didn't have too much. Now, I do believe they still have Chris Carson. He's going to be back this year, and so that should help him a little bit, but I don't think at the same time he's going to be the man, okay, that they need to take that next step. And I think Russell Wilson's going to have to do a lot on his feet. Now, Green Bay's offense will be way better than the Seahawks defense, and that's just in my eyes, and they're going to come away with a win on this one. And that's strictly because their offense is going to be electric, especially if they have Aaron Rodgers back there, slinging the ball, and that offensive line completely healthy, and Devontae Adams completely healthy. And trust me, Green Bay will be able to walk all over that Seattle defense. Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon are going to run all over, up and down that field on the Seattle Seahawks. So expect Green Bay to come away with a win in this one in Week 10. Well, my dumbass decided to skip one of the games, but we're going to talk about it, all right? 3 o'clock, this is a game before that Seahawks Packers, about the same time. We got Vikings at Chargers. Again, two very similar teams going head-to-head. They got Dalvin Cook on the Vikings side. He's going to have a very, very big, he's going to be a big piece of this game, okay? I think, the Chargers' defensive backs are really, really solid, and that's the reason I think Kirk Cousins is going to have a tougher time really moving the ball downfield through the passing attack. And this is where Dalvin Cook and Alexander Madison are really going to have to, step up. And that run game is going to have to be very solid. Now, on the other hand, the Chargers do have Joey Bosa, Melvin Ingram as their linebacker crew. So they do have a lot of good pieces, okay? But, like I said, I still think Dalvin Cook can run a lot better than what that defensive line can stop. If that makes any sense. I'm just saying I think Dalvin Cook's a lot better than what the Chargers defense can do run game-wise. Now, their defensive backs, you got Derwin James, you got Asante Samuel Jr., who I think is going to be an absolute freak of nature this year. Like, I'm not kidding on that. Just watch out for that dude because he is going to be a problem. And a lot of teams are going to wish they never passed on him, trust me. Especially Green Bay. Should have took him. But it is what it is. Now, this game is going to come down to the final one or two drives. It always seems to go that way. The Chargers really kind of are a pain in the ass to the Vikings because it's one of those games where you're like, fuck, can we win this one? Like, you don't really know. Granted, a couple years ago, I think when we had AP and God, I can't even remember I think that was a very close game too. I think Dempsey would know for sure on that one because I know we were going to a baseball game in Rochester that I had to play in. I had to play in shorts, I'm pretty sure. That was just awful. That was terrible. But I stepped up, played some outfield for him, and we got the job done. But, hey, like I said, these games between the Vikings and Chargers usually always comes down right to the end. Okay, 1 and 2 drives, and then that's kind of what you got. Now, you got a really good Justin Herbert and a very, very good, or I guess, excuse me, I don't want to undermine Justin Herbert, Justin Jefferson, very, very good. Very good rookies, okay, last year. Now, there's year 2. They got to make that big leap. And really, I don't know if Justin Jefferson can do too much better than what he did last year, but at the same time, he could do similar. We'll probably see a handful, probably a little bit more, about a handful more touchdowns. God. Burps from Justin Jefferson, but Justin Herbert, I think, is going to make a big jump, okay? He's going to help that Chargers team win a lot of games. I don't necessarily know how many they could win, but hey, hopefully it's better than last year. Now, this game, by this time, really, we're going to really know if that Vikings defense is the real deal or not. I mean, really, the first 5 weeks we will for sure know. Okay, bringing in Patrick Peterson at the defensive back. We like Mike Healy, Christian Christian Darrisaw. So we got some pieces, okay? But it's really up to those guys to come together and play solid football. And last year, Jeff Gladney, Cam Dancer, they let up a lot of big plays. And that just can't happen this year. And I think they're going to figure that out. It's going to be a lot better. So we'll see kind of where that goes. But this is really a time to see if that Vikings defense is the real deal. Can they take that next step? A lot of people have the Vikings going literally 11-6, 12-5, even 14-3 I've seen. Now, I don't know quite yet on that, but at the same time, it all depends strictly on that Vikings defense and Kirk Cousins throwing the fucking ball away. That's really what it comes down to. because I know Dalvin Cook will be just fine. Alexander Madison will be just fine. Kirk, I don't know, because he's going to be consistent enough where he's going to get the exact same stats every single year. About 4,000 yards passing, about 25 touchdowns, and about 13 picks, and no primetime wins. That's really what you're going to get out of Kirk Cousins every single year. I mean, you can literally go look at his stats from his entire career. It's what you're going to get. It's just how it is. You're not going to win because of them. You're just going to win with him. Okay? And you win with a lot of guys, obviously. So, but yeah, this is going to be a very, very fun game to watch, I think. So enough with the key matchups. Probably all bored of that. I am a little bit. But hey, talk about the Atlanta Falcons, NFC South team. Now, since their Super Bowl appearance in 2017, they really have had it pretty, rough. Okay, and they thought they needed a change of scenery. They fired Dan Quinn I think resigned for the betterment of the Falcons organization, and they had to go get another one. I think their head coach is now Arthur Smith, I want to say. So they went out and got a new head coach. But then they come into this year with a little bit of uncertainty. They don't have enough money to sign Julio Jones, and that's what it's sounding like anyways. So they have to figure out a way to either somehow keep him or they're going to have to trade him. And it hasn't happened yet. I haven't really heard too much more on it lately anyways. So I really don't know what's going to happen there. But just know they're going to be just fine regardless if Julio Jones is there. Because they drafted Kyle Pitts. He was the fourth overall draft pick, and he's the highest tight end drafted in the common draft era. So, good for him. Now, he can easily play both tight end and wide receiver. And I was watching a couple videos from his rookie minicamp yesterday and the day before, I believe, of just what he can do. And he really is, he's not going to be a big tight end, but he'd be a very, very nice, solid wide receiver. So it really makes me think he's going to play a lot of slot receiver, split out tight end. He's not going to I don't know how he is blocking wise. He could be just fine. That's teachable. But at the same time, I think he's going to be a very, very prominent piece of that offense. Now, if Julio Jones ends up leaving, you still have Calvin Ridley there. And so they're okay. Our wide receiver and tight end wise, they are just fine. Okay, with or without Julio Jones. Now, they'd be a little bit better, obviously, with the likes of Julio Jones, but if he's not there, they are just fine. Now, on the other hand, the Falcons' offensive line is not that good. Okay, and Matt Ryan is going to have another tough year, and he's going to have to make a lot of decisions that he's not going to want to make, okay? And he's going to have another tough season, unless a miracle happens, which I don't see happening. Okay, Matt Ryan still goes out there and performs the best he can, and he does a very good job does a very good job at it. Okay, he performs very nicely year in and year out, even with a very shitty offensive line. Okay, he does just fine. Now, their defense is what I'm worried about. They really don't have any standout players at all. Okay, they lost literally everybody. They don't have one piece where you're like, all right, they got a chance. Not one. All right? This is going to be a very, very tough year for them to stop division opponents. They got the Saints, who are consistently good, consistently in the playoffs, with a new quarterback. Hopefully that works out. Jameis Winston, but Michael Thomas, Alvin Kamara, Latavius Murray, Emmanuel Sand. The list goes on. Okay, the Saints are very good. Then you got the Carolina Panthers. They just got Sam Darnold. They have Christian McCaffrey. They got Robbie Anderson. DJ Moore. So they got weapons. And then you look at the Buccaneers. What more do I got to say besides they won the Super Bowl last year? So it's going to be a very, very tough division for these guys to win. Okay? Now they are going to win a couple games. It should be a better year than I think last year was. But it really all depends on that defense, because if that defense can't perform, they are not going to win very many games. And they're going to go probably 3-14. Okay, it's just how it is. And I hope that doesn't happen, because this team can be good, but they need defensive pieces. Now, if they can somehow trade Julio Jones away, get a defensive piece, they should be okay. But what do I know? It's going to be a very let's just say they're in a very interesting place kind of going forward. But I just, as much as I want to see them have a little success, I don't see them having a great year. Defensively, there's nothing there. Okay, offensively, yeah, they got some pieces, and yeah, as much as they might be able to score a lot and keep up with the other teams, they're not going to be able to keep the other teams from outscoring them. And that's what I'm worried about, and that's why I don't think they're going to have a great year. But hey, I could be wrong. They could, flip that switch and they're really good, and all of a sudden we see them make a playoff push, or they even win their division and shock the nation. But at the same time, look at what you got on paper, and you'll understand why I think that they are not going to have a great year. Well, that is all I got for you guys today. Now, thanks for tuning in, and continue to do so, Facebook and YouTube. I don't know why my Twitch just doesn't want to fucking work, but hey, we'll get there eventually. We'll see what happens with that lately. But we can only improve from here. So this is a start to a hopefully